Now, with us officially being 4 episodes deep into the third season of The Mandalorian, I think it has become very prominent that other Mandalorians, such as Bo-Katan and the rest of the Creed, like the Armor and Paz Vizsla, the other Mandalorians are going to definitely be playing a huge role within the rest of the season, if not for another couple episodes or so. But there's been one question that I think I have an answer to that I haven't seen many other people speak on, so let us jump right into it and answer a question that maybe you're having as well. Now, first taking a step back to the first episode of the third season, when Din Djarin goes to Navarro, during one of his conversations with Grief Karga, Grief Karga mentions how Navarro is kind of in need of a new marshal, since Cara Dune was sent off to fight in a higher position for the New Republic. She obviously couldn't fulfill her role as being Navarro's marshal, so Grief Karga naturally offers that position to Din Djarin, and nice property by the the water flats, whatever he said that would be near. Din Djarin needing to bathe in the waters of Mandalore, he wasn't able to accept this position. Though, even if he wasn't on a mission, I don't think he would have, just because I feel as though, you know what, maybe he would have. But I think now that he is back with the Creed, as we saw with the third episode, I think he wants to stay with his people, the Mandalorians, and I think, striving off as a lone wolf again, I don't think is really necessarily in his interests. Now, back on the topic of a marshal in need for Navarro, I saw people mentioning how Cobb Vanth could easily be the new marshal of Navarro. He's someone that Din Djarin knows. He knows that he's, marshal previously, or I guess technically probably still is. We don't really know exactly what's going on with him since at the end credits scene, if you even could call it that, of the Book of Boba Fett, we saw him getting worked on by the modifications dude. But I really don't think Cobb Vanth would even be an option to be the deputy of Navarro. He cares a lot of his people and being the marshal for his people, and I don't think he would go off-world and leave them for a planet that he's probably never even been to, and he never even met Grief Karga, so I don't think that is something he would do. Now, going back to the Mandalorians, I believe the marshal, if you want to call it that, of Navarro is going to become the Mandalorians, and I think that this is likely the case and 100% what is going to happen because of previous things that have happened in this season and previous of The Mandalorian. Now, hopefully some of you are saying, you know what, yeah, I think you're right, that makes sense, and maybe there's people who think that doesn't make sense and need their reasonings. Well, the reasonings that I believe that the Mandalorians are probably nearly 100% going to become the protectors of Navarro because, well, if you think back at it, the Mandalorians, the Creed, originated in Navarro. As we saw in the first season, that's where they were. That's where Din Djarin was. Once Din Djarin went back to save Grogu from the Imperial remnants, all the Mandalorians came out and helped him. They revealed themselves, so they had to move the Creed. Them doing so, they were no longer in Navarro. So I think them returning to the place they originated would honestly be something that they would not mind. And this time around, they wouldn't need to hide themselves in the sewers of Navarro. They would likely be able to roam around just like any other person, civilian, alien, whatever, is just living their life there in Navarro. Now, before you say, that's no reason to believe that they're going to become the new marshals or protectors of Navarro, that's just, a simple point to throw out there. A main reasoning that I'm saying this is because, well, first episode of the third season, the Creed is attacked by a giant alligator monster during a ceremony that leads to the death of at least one Mandalorian, and probably more if it wasn't for Din Djarin coming and saving them. And now, fast forward to the fourth episode of the third season, a foundling gets taken by some sort of dragon creature. And from dialogue in this episode, it's very clear that this dragon creature has previously taken other foundlings or other Mandalorians, but those previous times they weren't able to rescue those Mandalorians, meaning they died. So I think them showing the unsuitableness of this planet, the fact that the Creed can't live here without being constantly attacked by different species and aliens and monsters, I think that that is really them foreshadowing the fact that the Creed is going to need to find a new suitable planet to live on. Because obviously, they're making it very clear that where they currently are is not suitable for them, and they're going to need to find a new place to live. Now, those are two reasonings of my theory that I have created from just simply watching the show and, thinking common sense of the things that we have seen and things that they seem to be foreshadowing. Now, I'm going to tap into the trailers a little bit here because, well, the trailers give another reasoning for this theory that kind of certifies it to be a fact in a sense. And that being that in the trailers, you blatantly see the Creed, the Mandalorians, going to Navarro and fighting the pirates that we saw in the first episode who were at Navarro. Now, I think what is clear that's going to happen is that the Creed is going to have a conversation related to needing to find a new planet to live. And then soon after this, Grief Karga is going to call up Din Djarin and say that the pirates returned and he needs his help to protect Navarro. And I think Mandalorian, Din Djarin's going to bring the rest of the Creed. They're all going to go to Navarro. They're going to save the day. And I think Grief Karga is going to offer them to return back to their home planet of Navarro and to live there. And I think that they're going to accept it because I don't believe that the show is going to be forcing these monsters and showing how uninhabitable the planet that they currently resign to. I don't think they're going to be showing that without them needing to move. It's a build up for them to move to a different planet, and I think Navarro is the best choice. It makes the most sense in terms of the story, and I think that the trailer, them going there, I think that they wouldn't just go there and then go back to that unsuitable planet for them. I think it's very clear that the Mandalorians, the Creed, will be the new marshals and defenders of Navarro. It makes a lot of sense, and I think it really helps tie Navarro back into the picture and make it more important. Because in the first season, we went back to Navarro quite often. It was a huge and important setting of the first season, and I think it would just kind of make the story come full circle. You saw the Creed start in Navarro, and now you're going to see it return and potentially end in Navarro. And I think it just perfectly makes sense for this to be the direction that the Creed goes. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think that it is likely that the Mandalorians, the Creed, is going to return to Navarro and be Navarro's marshal? Or do you think that the Mandalorians are going to potentially stay where they are? Or if they do move somewhere else? Obviously, we will be returning to Mandalore at some point since the Mythosaur was spotted by Bo-Katan. Now, will the Mandalorians try to return to Mandalore and that be where they live? I'm not too certain, but I do know that it is not suitable for them at the moment, so I think Navarro is definitely where they would be staying instead. Or you never know, maybe they stay there permanently because they realize Mandalore isn't as important as they previously had thought. Who knows? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and if you think my theory on this is correct or if it's wrong. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Video's a little longer than I wanted to, but to get out all the information that I felt was necessary to say, it kind of needed to be this length. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, sub. It truly does mean a lot, and I'll catch you guys next time.